Just get the audio sorted. A little bit of background music, which is the Vaesen soundtrack. Once I get this going, because Streamlabs and Windows 11 that seems to forget the audio sources all the time. So I have to reconfigure them at the beginning of almost every stream. Right, that should be a little bit of background music now. So we don't get it doubled up. I need to turn down my monitor a bit. There we go. So we had a couple of questions from one of the viewers, Bjorn. Hello. And it says here, I loved the way you have set up a character, Day Davies, in my Vaesen game as a journal entry with both the picture and the text. And the reason I do this is basically because often you don't need a character sheet for the characters in games like Vaesen. So you just need the picture, you need a short description, you need to be able to get to that quickly, rather than trying to put the notes into the note tab of the character sheet and then clicking back and forth and the picture being quite small. So, and I formatted it in a certain way. So we had the picture on the one side, we had the text describing it on the other side. And Bjorn was wondering how I had done that, but without going into any style sheet or doing any HTML tagging myself. I can show you that briefly. That's quite easy. And the other thing is, how do I get the text in with copy and paste? Yeah, that's related. But the bigger other thing was I had a letter, which I'll show you in a minute, with a seal placed on it. And if that's the invitation letter for the scenario, for the mystery, and if the player characters clicked on the seal, it just opened the letter, which is a little gimmick, really. Doesn't add much, but it is a little bit of immersion. So maybe I'm just going to show you those two things then. I'm using my Forge installer Foundry because I can zoom in a bit better with the user interface getting bigger. So I just started this up, and I was delighted to see that there was an update, which is really nice that Dave Rogers, has prepared the system for V9 Prototype 2. So hopefully, touch wood, everything is going to work. It's lovely to see when developers are taking the time to make sure it's ready for the next release, rather than waiting for it to fall over and then fixing it. Really good sign here. Couple of CSS tweaks. He's done scales on the maps, which is good, because I noticed that on a couple of the maps that the scales were not right, but he's fixed that. Lovely. So let's have a look then. Last time what I did in my scenario is oh gosh, I tried to pronounce this right. It's the Jantovic incident, I think. I still can't speak Welsh. I haven't learned it in a week. I had created characters here. Let me zoom in again, as I promised. For example, I had Day Davies. And what I had done here is I've basically made a journal entry like this. And essentially, all I've done here is I've created a journal entry, and then I went to my snipping tool. I went to the PDF. And I created, I took the snippets and stuck them into here. So you have seen already when I zoom in a little bit, yeah, one thing zooms, the other one doesn't. And if I click on the other one, doesn't. Yeah, if I zoom out, interestingly enough, the text gets bigger. So it's a bit hacked, really, but it works for what I'm trying to do. So let me show you that, and I'm going to actually do this slightly differently here, I think, with this scenario, with one of the characters from another scenario. So, and I'm going to talk about the tools and the steps while I do this. So this is something entirely different. This is going to be Fear the Evenfall, the scenario. And I think you should be able to see this. It's a scenario available on Drivethru by Stephen Dosman. And I think it's available for free. Yeah, if it's not for free, it's very, very cheap, and it's been downloaded loads. So he's created his own scenario, and one of the things is always when you do your own, especially for free, you can't commission any art, you struggle with getting copyright-free artwork. He's done a really good job here, actually. And he's included some pictures, maybe they're his family pictures, maybe they're just off the internet, of characters. So I'm going to use that without spoiling it too much. I've done Alexander as my test, so I might actually do somebody else. I might do Edwin Frisk. He sounds good. So what do I do to achieve that then? I create myself a journal entry. So create an entry, and I'm going to call it, what was it called? Frisk. Look, can't remember. Already forgot. Frisk. So I've got this. Now, to get this side by side, basically what I do is I make a table. So I go into the table here, and it's just a 2x1 table. And it can be a bit annoying the way it sets it up here. It actually works, but sometimes you get the first field almost the full width. And then on the right-hand side, you get a tiny little sliver of the second column, which can make it a bit hard to see what you're actually doing. So just to help you pad that out, basically, you could have here, you put a little placeholder picture, tab into the next field, text. So you can already see what you're doing a bit better. And return on both, so you've got a header. And now I would go across to the PDF, and I get my snipping tool, which is built into Windows, and Mac has got something similar. And I say, okay, what do I need? I need the picture. And I might actually just include the quote in the picture because it's here. So select it. Yeah, Control C to put it in your clipboard. Go back to the where it said picture and paste it in. Yeah, that's basically it. You can adjust the size here. This used to work on Forge, but it didn't used to work on local Foundry install. I just tested it this morning on the local Foundry install, and it does work. So I could do the same with the text, but I wanted to show you how I actually do this slightly differently. And I need the stats block. Now, because the stats block is in a different place here to the last character sheets I did, I'm going to just snip the stats block as well. Same idea. And again, if you really need this as a character, you can still make an actor from it. But if I just need a quick reference, that's all I need. And vigilance, by the way, is spelled with an A. Sorry, I can't help myself. I'm a teacher. So, next thing, the text. I take the text from here. Yeah, depending on what PDF browser you use. Sometimes it's fiddly in PDF. In Foxit can be a bit fiddly. You might have to change manually the tool. But select it. Control copy again. And if I paste this now, basically I get all the line breaks in the wrong spaces. So for short text like this, you can easily just do it manually. Yeah, you can just work it out as going to the end and deleting the line break. But I find that certainly for longer text, I use this tool here, which is called Notepad++. Now I've opened it. If you look for it, Notepad++ download. The first one is Softonic you can get to, but it's full of ads and stuff. Don't go there. Go straight to the source, notepad++.org, and then there you can download the latest versions. And it's a relatively small program, but it allows you to do structured editing if you want to do coding as well, or if you want to do something with HTML, with a notepad, the old way, like I learned it and forgot it, then you can actually use this. I just copy the text into this, Control V, and I get this. You can see with the line breaks. You then select whatever you want to have in one paragraph. For me, that's everything. Yeah, so you can do Control A, or you can just drag it across. It's the lines that matter, not all the characters at this point. You press Control J, and it joins all of that together onto one line. Then you can do Control C to copy, or Control X to cut it because you won't need it anymore. Go back to your table, where we have the text. Control V it in there. And you can see we still need to work on the layouts a little bit, but as a pure text across, we've got it done now. What I often do, this is in the original, it's only one paragraph. I might actually just read through it briefly and introduce some line break somewhere. So for example, after his description, there's something about his background here. That might be a new paragraph. This one probably. And I haven't really read this yet, but it just helps me break it up a bit to navigate it. So it's not scientific in the way I place the paragraphs. So, I save the entry like it is. Let's have a look what it looks like. File uploaded to your assets library fully, successfully. Basically, it's talking about the picture. I then have this. And you can see that currently I'm not happy with the picture. Yeah, that looks daft. I can't quite get it. So let's just make sure that we get the table set up correctly. Go back in, drag and drop the divider across. If you like the picture, you can make it a bit smaller by grabbing the handles at the bottom. Whatever works for you. And if you want to be a bit more pernickety, you can make this centered. You can make both of these pictures here There's alignment in the center. And that looks a bit better still. Line, center. There we go. Picture we don't need anymore. You can see it's a picture. Save entry. And this looks a bit better now, doesn't it? Now you could in theory do this, or let me just show you the PDF again. You could do this for a list like this. Yeah, you could have them all together. Nothing to stop you doing that. But this is, for me, a quick way of just pulling up the character. And it's a bit squished now because of my zoom level. But if I wanted to have this person here, maybe not with the quote, but if I wanted to show this to my players, all I have to do is show art. And that would show the picture to the player, but not all the information behind it. So that's one. Hopefully that makes sense. If I wanted to include an actor, now I haven't set up an actor for this, but let's just do one briefly. Create an actor without it being everything in. Frisk. He is an NPC. Now I already have this here. I've got the information here. So physique 4, precision 2, logic 2, empathy not 22. And then the skills are 4, close combat 3, seems to be quite physical, vigilance 1, mental toughness and physical toughness 2 and 2. I don't quite know why you have to. If you do the maximum, it should update the other one automatically, I think. Not 22. Yeah, close that. Okay, I don't have the picture yet. That would be a bit more fiddly. But I have the picture there, so I don't really need it. So I can then take if this is an edit mode, I place the cursor where I want the reference to the actor. I drag it from here just onto this. And what should happen, and didn't happen, is I should get the full tag. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I used to have this problem in Coriolis, but this time it worked. You see, it's got the prefix @ actor, it's got the reference, and it's got the label. Yeah, how the link is going to be labeled. So I then have this picture up here. Frisks, if I need to get to him, I can just click on here, and I've got him with a rollable character sheet. If I don't have that actor set up, I could just use my dice tray, which I don't think I've installed here. Dice tray is a module, and then I could just say, okay, do 46, or I could do, roll 46. The style sheet is slightly off, but it does load eventually. And then I can click on here to see whether he's got successes. Or there is a better formula, which I would have to look up. Where would it be? Dice so nice, wouldn't it? Bigger settings, module settings. Dice so nice. Have I not enabled it on here? That's rash of me. Yeah, okay. Let me just briefly do that. I'm going to take the time. So manage modules. Dice so nice and dice tray. I'm going to have them both on. The second thing I'm going to show you is just, well, I should have checked that the modules are enabled, how to do the pins. Like pins on a map that take you to a journal that look cool and allow you to open the letter. That's going to be next. So my dice settings. It's set up for Vaesen, and then you can see under, where is it gone? Special effects. Yeah, you can actually here very easily see what the dice types are called. So we've got a skill. Oh gosh, I would have to look that out. I'll experiment with it. These special dice types are done. So I think that's a coin. And then F and S are the skills dice, and I don't know what the F is. So, oh, the fate dice. So this is the DS that I really need here. This one here, I think. So let's try that. Roll 1d6. Is that styled? Oh, that's styled already. Just need the 1d6. So rolling out lots of videos. Yeah, Amoeban, I can do that right now because I'm on holiday, but my holidays are coming to a close. So it's going to dry up a little bit. So I have to go back and work for the next 6 weeks solid. So that's that one. Yeah, and the dice tray down here, if you ever need an ad hoc roll, this dice tray module is quite cool. You can just click together what you need. 11d6, roll, and it gives you this. It gives you this as a sum, but if you click on it, you can then see where the 6s are. You weren't fast enough on the screen. So the other thing I wanted to show you, and I'm going to go back to this sheet I made, this landing page. Yeah, so we had this table I set up with a map, with one hidden map here. These are tiles and the pictures with it, and I put a little pin in roughly where I thought it would be. Yeah, this place, I don't actually know where Mythic Britain is going to place the base for that, whether it's going to be London or whether it's, I read in the old Meg, there's a tabletop gaming magazine in Britain, and they just brought out their latest issue with a lovely front cover of Vaesen with a neck coming out of the lake. And inside it, there's a scenario, I think it's about 8 pages or so, called Old Meg. And in there, they say it could be either London or Bristol. Yeah, so just like Uppsala is not Stockholm, they might want to go for somewhere else. But anyway, I had this map on my starting page. I had the setting page here of the town, of the village they're going to. This is currently still hidden. The players wouldn't see it. I got something from the Welsh Slate Mining Museum here, a couple of pictures from their websites. They're out of copyright because they're so old. And then we had this letter here. And Bjorn said, how did you do this? So I created something. If I click on it, on the letter, it opens up the letter. So a couple of steps I'm doing here. And I'm going to do that on the book, I think, this time around. So again, I go to journal entry. And let's call it the book. I can't think of anything else early in the morning. The book. Of course, you can put it in a different folder. And here I might then have, let me just grab some text again. I might have, is there anything here that is formatted text? Doesn't really matter. Let's just grab this one here. Description of a town. I can, again, use my Notepad, as I did earlier. Yeah, select it almost all, minus the heading, Control J, join it up, cut it out of there, paste it into here. Oh, okay, I must have forgotten the Dover stop, doesn't matter. So I've got the information here, save entry. And now I want to basically say, if they click on this book, I want them to open it. So what I do is I take the journey entry, I put it across, becomes a map pin like this. Looks like a book, which is probably not bad, but let's go for something different. So I can use the icons that are included in Foundry. They look like this. You think, okay, that's hard to see because most of them are white. Yeah, not all of them. But there is a website called gameicons.net, and there's a module called gameicons.net that you can install here. So if I go to Game Icons, I have to browse through user data modules, if I have it installed, that is. You can go here and you can say, okay, I want a black icon like this one without a background. So black transparent is the subfolder. This one, I'll look and load all the icons, so that takes a while. Don't click it too often, otherwise you end up with lots of pictures popping up. Just once and be patient. You can actually grab all these icons directly off their website as well. You can recolor them, you can restyle them. It's quite cool. So in here you could, for example, now look for book. Not sure there's a few books. So which one shall we go for? Shall we go for a Halloween book? Like this. Select the file. Right, it's still a bit small. Let's make it 80. Okay. Place it there, and if I hover over it, now says the book. If you ever want to edit these, right-click, double right-click on them, and then you get back to this configuration window. So you can change the font with the built-in ones. They're not huge numbers of them. Font size, text color, anchor point. Yeah, so you could have the writing appear above or central or beneath it. So that's all cool. And the last thing is, normally you see that the journal pin, like this map pin, would have a background around it, like another frame, like the slight red you might be able to see. The eyes are really good. Yeah, and then there's a sort of shaded background behind it. So there's two modules that I'm using here in addition, and I'll just show you those. One of them is backgroundless pins. So this one very, very basically just removes the background. That's all there is to it. The second one is pin cushion. Pin cushion here. And that allows you to... actually, I'm not quite sure whether you need it for this bit. But that basically... There's three. I keep correcting myself. So that allows you to pick lots of different icons. I think you can do that in Core now. But it also gives you something called a preview, which I'm going to show in a second. And the last one is show notes. Now, show notes, what does show notes do? Basically, if you have a map like this, typically you would have to go to the bookmark icon on the left to show journal notes, and your players would not be able to see them, even if they're shared, unless they click on this one. Show notes just makes sure that they're persistent, so that you see them whatever screen, whatever menu icon you're on the left, you will still see the map icons. So this is something the players should see. I could then say, where did I put journal entry? The book. Configure permissions. All players can observe this. They can now see this. And if you can see this, I think you might be able to, looking at the small screen, right here on my right here where my finger is pointing, roughly, you can see that little colored icon. That's yet another module called permission viewer, and that tells me that this is square. Yeah, this is observable by all players, the different colors there. So that allows me to keep track of what's going on. So the preview, you want the preview by hovering over and then it pops out a little window. That's in the module settings. So if I go to, it's called, are you paying attention? Now, pincushion. If I go to pincushion settings, you can then say, I want a journal preview, and you can have different bits here, different settings. I won't go through all of them. So if I now hover over it, let me zoom out a bit. I don't actually have to click into it. I can just see icon information like this. Now I especially do this for locations on maps. So I don't have to open it. I can just hover over it. I get a short description. Yeah, and that essentially is now the same as I have done here with the letter. Yeah, sometimes if you've got long texts, it gets a bit awkward. The preview gets a bit awkward because it's in the wrong position or it gets too small. But on short text snippets like descriptions of a place, that works really nicely. This one is fine as well. So that was how to create the journal entry for an actor with a side-by-side of bit of information. Was the first one, and link it to the actual actor if you need it. That was how to create a link, a journal link that players can see. And actually, there's this function here, join game as player. Let's see whether this works properly. This is a real test, because if I haven't set up my scene correctly, yeah, okay. I haven't set up my scene correctly. Right. Join game as game master. So let me just do that as well. And then I'm going to finish. So I create an NPC for myself as well. Player. Doesn't matter, don't need any content on it. I have to make this scene accessible to the players. So navigation, all players, it needs to be shown. And I don't want foreground, I don't want tokens. So if I now go back to join game as player, I can then see what the player would see. I can pick my character. Oh, interesting. I can't. Doesn't matter. Shouldn't matter. Go to this map. And I now should be able to see the pin that I shared with them, permissions-wise. They can see. The one I haven't shared, they can't see it. So that's what that looks like. And I didn't have to go on my left-hand side here to the bookmarks to see it. It was just there. Yeah, so that's how that works. I hope that's all sensible for you guys, especially for Bjorn, that answered the question of how I did these things. If you have more specific questions, if I'm going too quickly over something, or if I just assume that people know something and you don't and you want to find out, feel free to drop me a line. the frequency and immediacy of the answer might go down a little bit because I'm back at work for the next few weeks until Christmas. But I'm sure I'll get to them. So, see you soon, guys. See you soon. Let me just find my bye-bye screen.